what are you doing? So from 1 to 3, we're going to be recording. What are you doing from 3 to 5? Please be my model. That's basically what I'm saying. The only requirement.
Model for what? Just recording.
So I have an app where I put my clients in, which I'm sure you used before. Trainerize.
Yeah.
And so within that app, you know how you can click on exercises and stuff like that, and it shows you the example. Yeah. Well, of course, it's this guy, and I feel like a lot of the time they just do it wrong or they look dumb when they do it. So I want to. It's the truth. Yeah. So I want to personalize it. Oh, okay. And so I want somebody like a woman doing some of the exercises and a man doing some of the exercises.
Okay. So you're gonna film all of them and then put it in Trainerize.
Trainerize. Okay. Yeah. So then I know like it's the way I'm teaching it, and it's just more personal. Like Caleb will wear my Righteous and Real shirt, and then my client will as well. She'll wear a Righteous and Real shirt, and because you have some women join, then you have some men join. Yeah, and
so you want something more unique to them.
Yeah, and then it'll be for both of them. Yeah. So yeah, planning on doing that the next few months. And
you know what I usually do is I just attach a YouTube video. I find a YouTube video, put it on there, and it's like literally so you could find little clips of like Athenix, Jeff Nippert, and then I'll just put it on there, and it'll be like a little YouTube short or something,
Really?
Yeah, so it saves a lot of time.
You know what I want to start doing is doing.
I'm not trying to stun on your idea of
No, I get you. I do that, but I do that for a lot of other exercises and stuff like that. But I guess it would just feel more personal. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Especially with your brand and stuff.
So and I think people want personal. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's what we're called, personal trainers, because we're supposed to, I don't know about you, but dude, I have some deep conversations with some of my clients sometimes. Yeah. Like, and I'm like, I know a lot about their life. They know a lot about my life. Like we get personal, but we still put the work in, we train hard, get results. Mm-hmm. But it's like, we're here to be personal with them, and honestly, like being physically open with somebody is personal in and of itself. Yeah. I think that maybe, I don't know how the name personal trainer kind of got like jotted down, but I feel like that's honestly probably a big reason.
Yeah. That one-on-one attention and everything. Yeah, absolutely.
You have to be a personal trainer, but welcome to the Righteous and Real podcast, where real talk empowers real change. I'm your host. You know what it is. You know the biz. My voice. You know the biz. You know the Riz. It's Emilio Aldana the fourth, your best host, your only host, Righteous and Real. Here we are with one of the most realest people I know, one of the best coaches in town. He specializes in what we call this new trend, hybrid training. All right, this is the new trend of type, like, or let's say type of training. How would you describe it?
Hybrid training?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of different ways to describe it, but I would definitely say it's just mixing together, like functional bodybuilding and some form of like cardio, like high intense cardio. So it's not just your regular, like, walking on a treadmill for 25, 30 minutes. Like we're doing, long endurance running. I just did my first marathon this past Sunday. So, but you're also mixing in like a lot of strength movements. A lot of people say like, oh, well, how is it different from CrossFit? So we're kind of, average CrossFit circuit is about like maybe like 5 to 15 minutes. They're real fast, short bursts and everything. But like a hybrid event, it's probably anywhere from like 30 minutes to 90 minutes. It's a lot longer. You have more running, more strength exercises, and it's just a little more hybrid.
Yeah. Okay. So actually, I'm curious about that too. Because in my mind, I'm like, well, CrossFit and hybrid training looks super similar. Yeah. Can you go more into detail on what the difference is?
Yeah. Well, like CrossFit more emphasizes on like, what would I say? Like Olympic lifts. Okay. You have your snatches, your cleans, stuff like that. Where hybrid training, you're going to have stuff like sled push. It's more, the word that they use is like rudimentary exercises, exercises that anyone can do. You have your rowing, your skiing, biking, stuff like that. Okay. Lunging, I'm talking more like specific events like DECA and high rocks and stuff like that. Those are the ones I'm currently doing. So they're a little more like rudimentary where anyone can do it, where CrossFit, you have to be more technical and know how to do a snatch, know how to do a clean and stuff like that.
That's super true.
Muscle ups.
The first thing I thought of was like, well, some people or some clients can't even do a squat. Yeah. So how are you going to get them to squat? Whereas hybrid, I guess I kind of get what you're saying, where you can kind of put somebody on a rower machine or on a skier machine, and like really anybody can do that, and you're really not going to mess up your body doing those types of things.
My oldest really clients can do a DECA run through pretty much. My 6-year-old clients. I think the last event I went to, that like I saw someone who was like 71 years old doing a High Rocks event. And I was like, oh shoot, that's pretty impressive.
Dang. Were they super fit?
Pretty fit for a 70-year-old. I was like, okay, that's impressive. Where you don't really see people who are a lot older doing CrossFit. It's more younger people. And I'm not trying to hate on CrossFit, but like, there's usually more injuries and more, so it's a little different. For sure.
No, it's different. And I think you got to try whatever you want in order to find out what you actually like to do in that moment and really enjoy it. You know what I mean? And so I do feel like I've tried CrossFit once. I've gone to a CrossFit gym, and it was fun. I mean, don't get me wrong. I just don't know if I could stick with it consistently. But some people can stick with it consistently, which is great. Like, I've kind of catered more towards just strength training. And for a while, I've always done more like bodybuilding type training, and I still incorporate that into like a lot of my routine. But now I've really become more obsessed with like strength. Like I want to gain strength. I want to, push heavy weight and learn how to use my entire body to generate the most amount of force, force production and stuff like that. So lately I've been really focusing on like the big 3, but especially bench press. Not like in a teenager egotistical way where you're like, oh, I'm just trying to bench 225. Like I'm really trying to like really get good form on and a lot of people, and I say this all the time, you have to grow the skill to bench effectively, you know, and just like any movement when you're working out, it's like, there's certain people who can squat so well, and people don't think about that. They just think, okay, just squat. And it's like, okay, but how good was that squat? And then you start to see somebody else squat and you see the form, the technique, the elbows are back, the butt's coming back, like the heels aren't coming up, the let's say that the front of the feet are coming up, you know what I mean? Everything's locked in, knees are turned out, like everything looks solid. And then you see somebody who just says they squat and they're good at squatting, when in reality, like their form's breaking down, they're like using their low back to kind of push that halfway portion up, you know what I mean? Or whatever the case is. So what do you usually see when you get, because it kind of talks a little bit about older clients and them not being able to really do other movements. How do you get them to do those movements eventually, right? Because that's the goal, right?
Oh, you're saying like in personal training?
Personal training,
definitely, like depends what exercise it is, but breaking down the movement into like smaller portions, It's like if it's a squat, for example, obviously you're going to start with a body weight squat, and really just breaking it down and working from the ground up, your feet in right position, kind of like what you were saying, the heels, the knees, making sure all the muscles are working properly and efficiently, and then gradually as the form is, a little more locked in and stuff. So just working from the ground up, I would say.
So when did you start personal training?
When I started in 2021 actually, and I was at a gym called Fit Republic. And they were over there on Shields and Maroa. And I started working under a training company.
Oh, okay.
And I only did that for about like 3 to 4 months. And then not too long after that, I was like, you know what? I actually want to do my own training business, So then that's when I ventured out and started personal training with my own separate business. And so I've been doing it this is my 4th year now. And I love it. It's fun.
And do you see yourself doing it past 10 years, past 20 years? Where are you out with it?
I would say so for sure. I think it's something that I can do for a long time, and I love the rewarding feeling that you get after, one of your clients reaches a goal, or especially like a weight loss goal, or even just like, even like a PR, just hitting like a number on like a bench or a squat or something like that. I love being able to help change lives, even if it's like just a small, like, physical attribute or something like that. So I definitely would do this, long term for sure. Long term.
And it's cool that we're able to turn this passion that we have into something that can also provide for our family.
You know absolutely.
I mean? And stuff like that, which you got, a whole family going on. If you want to tell everybody a little bit about your family, you got son, wife.
I have a 16-month-old boy right now, Jayvon Jr., and then I have a girl on the way, February 2025.
That's crazy. February? That's soon. Dang.
Almost there.
Planned, everything was planned.
It was planned.
Okay, that's good. Man.
Number 1 wasn't planned, but number 2 was planned. So,
that's good. Well, you guys are married. You guys are in a good spot. You know what I mean? And so that's awesome. You guys are going to be able to, have the older son. You know what I mean? Older
boy and a girl,
and the young daughter. And are you guys like probably going to eventually want more?
Well, I mean, I say more. It's kind of just up to my wife. Like what she can do. But We both say like 5 or 6.
Really?
Yeah, we both say like 5 or 6. You know, we're down for that, but it's ultimately what can your body do? You know, like if she starts having too much strain, we're not gonna like push it. You know, stuff like that. But that's what we say right now. So you know, God willing, it'll happen. You know.
Yeah, my wife and I had our daughter back in July, and the experience, I mean, we're in the thick of it, you know, it's like we're 3 months into it. So it's kind of like, oh, we're good off that. Like, we don't want another kid anytime soon, you know what I mean?
Oh, you guys want to wait a little longer?
The adjustment, for sure. Like, we talk about waiting at least till like 2 years.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And then trying again.
Yeah.
But we're still adjusting. We're still figuring things out.
Yeah.
Like, and there's like so much adjustment that comes with like working and then being a father and then being a husband. But really it's in order. It's husband, father, work.
Yeah, absolutely.
But how have you learned that kind of along the way? Like, how do you keep it balanced?
I'm still learning. You know? Yeah. It's nothing, I'll never have it down to a T, you know, but ultimately just trying to figure out, like you said, balance, you know, balancing the time, you know, that I'm spending at work, balancing the time I'm spending on my own workouts, you know, at gym, you know, with my wife, with my son, with my family, friends, you know, balancing it, you know, and it's never going to be perfect, you know, but you just have to like, you know, keep an eye on where you're putting your attention to and not really let any, you know, neglect go in certain places, you know? Yeah. So I definitely, you know, it's been hard for sure, but I feel like as they get a little bit older, it's a little bit easier. And then you'll hit another bump in the road, you know, and you figure out, you know, okay, how are we going to get over this and that, you know? But the cool thing with like YouTube and TikTok, there's like so many ways you can like learn quickly. You know, I feel like, you know, 10 plus years ago, parents didn't have like the same technology we have today. Yeah. So like learn from other parents, you know, that big open like community, you know, where we can all learn from other people's struggles and stuff. So that's helps us a lot, you know.
Yeah. I don't understand how parents used to do it. Yeah. They had to look in books. And a lot of the time it's crazy. Like, you know, people look in books and then like a lot of that stuff was like wrong. Or like just not even scientifically proven.
Yeah. Just different practices like that, and stuff.
You know? Like sleep training is a big thing that like it's a big controversy in the mom community. And I remember me and my wife having this whole conversation about sleep training, and I didn't even know what sleep training was until she educated me on it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so she's planning on not sleep training the baby. You know? She's planning on like doing some other stuff. And at the end of the day, like it's up to her. You know, she's the one raising her.
Yeah. Do you guys co-sleep with the baby or?
She doesn't. She tries not to, but she will. Like this morning, she brought her in to co-sleep because, well, I don't know why, honestly, because she slept 9 hours. Yeah, the baby slept 9 hours. Yeah. I think maybe she just wants some cuddles. I don't know. Yeah. You know what I mean? Sometimes moms need some cuddles too, I guess. Yeah. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not about just the baby and what they want, you know, sometimes. And that's the thing too. It's like, I always tell people, because I want to go out of town with my kid, you know, and then people will be like, well, she's not even old enough. So what's the point of taking her out of town? She's not going to remember. Yeah. Like, but I'm going to remember. Yeah. You know what I mean? Well,
it's not for the baby.
Yeah. You guys just went out of town to Hawaii. Not just, but recently this year.
Yeah. Right after my bodybuilding show, actually.
That's such a great time to go because you finally eat
food. That was a fun time. And at that time, he was only 10 months old. And that was, you know, there were some little struggle factors there, but overall, like it was such a great time, and we were able to create those memories and take the pictures and take the videos, and like he still enjoyed it. You know, he was still at that age where he could play in the water, play in the sand, you know, have a good time. You know, I would say the nervous part for a lot of parents is that the plane ride. You know, that's where it gets a little nervous because you're like, okay, how's my baby gonna act on the plane? You know, and he actually did pretty good because you know he breastfeeds, so like you know once he gets fussy, you know, we just breastfeed him and. He'd do pretty good, you know, just keep giving him snacks and food and entertainment. Yeah. Knock out, sleep a lot, you know? But yeah, it was pretty good.
I can imagine my daughter, trying to like survive on the plane. You know what I mean? I don't know.
You guys haven't taken her.
We're taking her out of town. So we went to Capitola not too long ago. Okay. And we went on a drive there. And the drive there, she wasn't doing that well. But the drive back, she slept the whole ride. Oh, damn. So I don't know. That's the thing is like with my daughter, sometimes you're going to get one thing. Yeah. And sometimes you get something else.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah. So roll and die.
Yeah. The other day, I took my daughter and I was meeting my wife at her parents' house. And right when she got in the car with me, she just knocked out, slept. Oh, dang. And I sent a picture to my wife. She's like, what the heck? You know what I mean? Like, why, like, she never does that.
She's why like with you and fussy. Not with me?
Yeah, and I'm not even around her as much. You know? I come and don't get me wrong, I'd be spending time with her. Like, she's got her little play mat over here.
Yeah,
playing. You know,
like, it's just my vibe. That's all.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think, and it's interesting. I don't know. This is like, for me, it's not a touchy topic, but obviously for a lot of people, it's a touchy topic. But you know, I try to, like, you know, treat my daughter like my best friend, even though she's tiny and like she's 3 months old. It's like, okay, if she's crying like crazy, I'm gonna pick her up. I'm gonna like comfort her. But if she's just like a little fussy, be like, okay, you know, hey, you gotta go through those emotions kind of thing. Figure that out. Like, I'm not super quick to pick her up. And, like, that's my baby girl, you know. I don't know. I feel like if I had a son, I'd be way different though.
I mean, you still got to do what you got to do. Right. You know, like, parents are going to have their opinions, but it's your kid, you know, and you're going to, you know, if you feel like you need to pick them up. You need to give them hugs and kisses and cater to them. Like, you know, I've never felt like ashamed to, you know, people are like, no, just leave him. You know, he needs to learn and cry. I'm like, no, he's like, I'll pick him up. You know, like, he's still young. You know, he's still a baby. You know, I would say for at least the first 2 to 3 years, you know, he's still a baby. And as they get a little older, you know, then you start kind of letting them learn. And I still let him go through his emotions. I don't just spoil him all the time. But yeah, I
think one thing that's helped me through this, like, because I mean, we've been through similar kind of, I guess, journeys with that, you know, being a personal trainer, having a kid, and then, you know, also being married, you know what I mean? I think the things that have helped me the most have been just communicating with my wife a lot of the time and just being like, hey, like, let's just talk about this before, like, let's have complete expectations, or complete our expectations through conversation, you know what I mean? And so, like, what are we expecting out of each other? What are we not getting out of each other? You know, sometimes it just takes a simple, you know, conversation between me and my wife, and then a lot of the problems that we had were just solved immediately. You know what I mean? And whether it's like a phone call on the way to work, because sometimes, you know, you're like bouncing back and forth. You only got so much time to sit there, and just, you know, you barely got time to eat sometimes because you're driving so much. Like, I've been tracking my gas with this app, and I'm like, dang, I spend like, I don't know, at least mileage wise, I could ride off a lot of gas. I didn't realize how much gas I could be riding off.
Really?
Yeah, well, because, you know, you go to the gym, it's 15 minutes. You leave, it's 15 minutes. You know what I mean? And then you do that twice or 3 times in a day. You're driving for almost an hour.
That is a lot. That is.
You do the same thing.
I live like 5 minutes away from the gym.
Oh, you do?
I live close to the gym. Man. I'm like, I can't relate there. Sorry.
Dang it, bro.
You can write this off,
No, you can, because it's about fitness. And we're talking about, this is business. This is business. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Everlance what? Oh no, it's called Huddler. So I was looking for something. Huddler.
That's the name of the app you're saying?
Huddler, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So there's one called Keeper, and it allows you to, like, basically, it connects to your bank. And I have a business credit card, so I try to put everything, like, right now, when I bought the 4 drinks before, I used to put on my business credit card, because it's a business expense. You know what I mean? Like, I'm treating my guest host. We're talking about fitness. This is my job. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, it's a business expense. And then on Keeper, if you wanted to, you can connect it to your bank account. It'll connect to your credit card, and you go through and, like, label which is a business expense, which isn't. You know what I mean? So that's Huddler. Cool. The only reason why I use that one is it does the same thing as Keeper. It's just cheaper.
This is not a sponsored segment in the podcast.
This is not a sponsored segment. And
it could be
one day. No, it will. You know, it will, because consistency. You know, consistent. Well, because are we on the 13th episode? Okay. This might be the 14th or 15th when we put it out, but we've been consistent for a year, and we've already planned out the whole next year. So our plan is just to be as consistent as possible. Like, you know, when you train clients, right? Like, how consistent are they going to be, right? And then you think, okay, if they're consistent, they're going to get results.
Absolutely. Put in the time, you know, even when you're not at the gym, like, what are you doing, you know, with your fitness, you know, your diet, your sleep, your water, all that, you know? And it's like, it literally just translates to everything else. Like, the same disciplines you have when you train and you go to the gym and you eat right and you live that life. Like, those same disciplines translate to everything in life. And it's just that same thing, like with the podcast. People will start a podcast, but will they continually do it for the next 5 years? You know what I mean? And so that's my mindset, is like, okay, how long can I just be consistent? Absolutely.
And every podcast Yeah,
Really?
I would agree.
Yeah.
I is that true? That's a stat you saw. So the stat was every podcast.
It's just like a lot of the
podcasts that don't, a lot of podcasts that don't make it are because they only make 4 or less episodes. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah.
But honestly too, like the reason why and this goes into like training too, the reason why a lot of our clients are consistent is because they pay somebody to make sure they're consistent. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So like same thing with me, where I pay Caleb to come out and record the podcast and everything for me. It keeps me accountable too. I'm like, well, I'm paying X amount of money. Like I better be freaking like, taking advantage of this and doing what I can to make sure I'm, successful at it. You know what I mean? And so
that's going back to like what you said, that's how we're able to make a living with the personal training, you know, because if people weren't paying for it or they're paying like a super cheap price, they wouldn't probably take it serious, I
always heard this quote which it feels like when you go on social media, you hear freaking every single quote under the sun and everything's freaking revolutionary. But it is, bro. I feel like I go on social media and it's like the next big quote after the next big quote. I feel like at this point you've either heard it before or you're numb to the quote. But it's like when you pay attention.
You pay attention. Yeah, I've heard that one.
Yeah,
that's good.
See, it's like, good. But that's always stuck with me because I'm like, that's the mindset I have with everything now. Too. Yeah, it's like, okay, pay Caleb for content, pay Caleb for like podcasts.
Yeah.
Stay consistent. Like,
it's an investment in yourself or your business or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's important right there. Mm-hmm. Even to have like a mentor. I think you and I have both worked with mentors for like online coaching and stuff mentors. Like that. So that's big right there. You pay more and you're probably going to hopefully get more out of it,
I do want to ask you something because it kind of like popped on I don't know if it was on my head or on my heart, but it kind of is deep. So if it catches you off guard, I apologize. But I do kind of want to ask you because like we talk about family, we're talking about fitness. Like what in your mind, what do you feel like have you thought about your purpose in life kind of thing? Like, or the direction you want your life to go? Like, what is your purpose? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, purpose versus like, kind of intertwining with like goal, I guess, I could say is what, I think I've told you before, like I've always had a dream to like open up my own gym here in the Valley, and kind of like inspire more and help more people get into fitness. And because kind of like when we're talking about personal training, I feel like you're able to impact and help people more on a one-on-one and personal, aspect. But, I feel like, if and when I do open my own gym, I'll be able to like have a bigger impact, a bigger footprint, especially here in the Valley, so that's my goal ultimately, that's, could change, but at the moment, and it's been for a while now, is to hopefully have more of an impact in the fitness community with a gym, you know what I mean?
Do you plan on staying in the Central Valley? Is this like your home for a long time?
I do, yeah. Really? I think I would, I know too many people here. I have too much family here. Like I couldn't see myself moving. I've thought about it before, but I'm like, I wouldn't want to start over, honestly.
Yeah. Well, it's easy to think, oh man, I want to move away from California.
Yeah.
It's really easy to think that thought. Yeah. But then when you really think about it more, you're like, well, the weather here is great. Yeah. Like and even if we're in Fresno, like, okay, yeah, it's hot.
Yeah.
But it's hot. I mean, it's hot most of the year, honestly. It does suck.
Yeah.
It does suck. But it's not as bad as going to other places where you might get a hurricane or a tornado. Or you're going to get snowed in or whatever the case is. Like at least life still kind of operates even though it's hot as hell.
Yeah, no, I love Fresno because Fresno is real close to like everything, I feel like. And some people may disagree with that, but I feel like, we're literally 2 hours away from the beach. We're an hour away from the mountains. We're 3 to 4 hours from LA. Up north, you got the Bay Area. We're 3 hours away from that. I feel like we're really like centrally located, and Fresno's not a dead spot, maybe some of the cities around it, but not Fresno specifically.
No, I mean, Fresno has a lot of stuff to do. People would be surprised. And it's only grown the last 10 years.
Yeah, seriously.
And more stuff has come around. Yeah. And more and more people have come to Fresno because they don't like the big cities in California.
There's so much more opportunity coming to this city. Absolutely.
Yeah. There is a lot of opportunity. Like so many stores and restaurants have opened up here.
Yeah.
Especially as of recent. So you talk about your gym and you talk about, opening up a gym. what kind of gym would you want to open up? Would it be more catered to hybrid, or would it be catered to like everybody? Would you want to do commercial or like more personal?
More personal. Like I would want it to be a private gym, you know, that would kind of cater to everybody. You know, I feel like there's a lot of gyms that cater more towards power lifters, or obviously there's CrossFit gyms, and then there's just like general fitness, you know, but I would want something that's kind of meshed between all of them, you know, and, you know, it probably is good to have a good target, you know, demographic, but I would want it to be hybrid in the sense where it would target, you know, hybrid, you know, it's just a multitude of different ways of training, you know? So, you know, catering to, you know, all different types of athletes, you know, and everyday gym goers. So not a commercial gym, but like a private gym, you know?
Yeah. So when did you start working out? Like, cause you've been a trainer for 4 years, but when did you start working out?
I started working out when I was 11 years old, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I was doing pull-ups.
No, that actually was one of the first things. Well, I started doing boxing. I was doing boxing at 11 years old, and then I was just training for that, just body weight stuff, you know? But then I started getting into the gym. I started going to a gym called Centerpoint over like Central Fresno. I was going to Centerpoint for a while, and then my grandpa actually was the one training me.
Oh, wow.
So I actually had a trainer when I was 11, 12 years old, you know, and he was training me for, you know, I would say like 6 or 7 years pretty consistently. We'd go, you know, 5 days a week to the gym. And then I just started training for different like sports, you know, whether it was football, track, wrestling, I did judo, stuff like that. So I would literally like have different seasons of like fitness, you know, like, okay, I'm trying to get bigger for football. Okay, I'm trying to lose weight for wrestling, whatever it was, you know. So I had a lot of fun doing it. And I feel like that's like really hybrid in a sense there too, you know, because at some points I'm gaining weight, at some points I'm losing weight, constantly working on my cardio, trying to get stronger, stuff like that. So yeah, 11 years old is when I first started working out.
Yeah, cardio is really important. A lot of people don't do the cardio.
Yeah.
And they think it might inhibit their strength gains.
Yeah.
Which for you're probably a testament to show otherwise.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Like size wise, like you're going to be burning a lot more calories. So it's hard to maintain size when you're doing a ton of cardio. But strength wise, I've been able to manage my strength, you know, with the right diet and continuously training your strength, you know, kind of like what you were talking about, you know, continuously training your strength. Like I've noticed I've been able to I've been able to keep my strength for the most part while training more cardio, you know, and I've been training a lot more cardio this whole year actually, you know, more running, stuff like that.
It's important to strength train, but people don't understand really how little you only have to do. Like you don't have to do a lot to maintain strength.
Yeah.
If you want to gain strength, then you really have to push the envelope. But if you want to just maintain your strength, it's actually very easy to do. Like, you know, they say it's harder to put on muscle tissue than it is to just maintain the muscle tissue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, and it's true because you have to like eat so much food in order to gain muscle. You have to be training super hard. Like because you have the calories, you have to be training to failure. Yeah. You have to be, or else
create those adaptations and stuff.
Right. Because you want to make sure your body's going to adapt the next week.
Yeah.
You know? And so you definitely seem to focus on a little bit of both with your clients, like the strength training plus the cardio. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people think cardio, it's kind of separate from the strength training, but in reality, you're training your blood, you're training your heart, you're training your endurance. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so you're going to be stronger when you lift heavier weight because you're going to understand, you know, have better breathing when you're lifting that heavier weight and so on.
Yeah, you know? Absolutely. No, even when I did my first bodybuilding show this year, I was kind of hesitant on doing it so quickly. You know, Austin was my coach. Yeah. And he's like...
what was that, episode 2?
Episode 2.
Austin?
Yeah.
Also, I just remembered, I've seen you.
Oh, you have? Where?
Post. Yeah.
Oh, okay. For the bodybuilding. Yeah, I had long hair. I had the blonde hair and everything.
Oh, yeah. Wait, so, okay. You had the Patrick Mahomes with the blonde hair look. Yeah,
the Patrick Mahomes cut. Yeah, that's too funny. I actually said that on stage too.
Really?
Yeah, they asked me like, "What's the inspiration behind your hair?" I was like, "Patrick Mahomes." I was just kidding.
But so you did your bodybuilding show. You got coached by Austin.
Yeah. So I was hesitant on doing a show in like 3 to 4 months. You know, because I was all last year, 23. I was just training pure hybrid. I was doing like Spartan races, Decas, High Rocks, run events, stuff like that. And my last event that I had done was in LA, and it was a High Rocks event. And I think it was like the first or second week of December. And then like right after my race on a Saturday, I had told Austin like that Sunday, like, all right, I'm ready to start prep on Monday, you know, the next day. So he shot me a meal plan and everything. And I started prep literally right after like this full on hybrid season. You know, I just went straight to bodybuilding. And then I started prepping for that. But I was like thinking, okay, I'll just do the show at the end of the next year, right? The end of this year in September. But then Austin's like, no, bro, like, you know, you're already like really good condition. You know, you should do the show in April. And I was like, oh shoot, that might be kind of pushing it. But he's like, no, like your conditioning is like really good. Like you're going to look like crazy on stage. You're going to look really cut and everything. And I trusted him. I believed him. And sure enough, like when I came on stage, excuse me, I was like super shredded. And I was like, dang, like I was really shocked. And I do attribute it, obviously, like Austin's diet and my consistency with the cardio and all that. But like my prior, you know, conditioning, like from all the hybrid training I was doing, like I was already really low body fat. I think I came in like before I even started to prep, I was probably like 12% body fat. And then like I went down like pretty quickly and looked insane. So I thought it was pretty cool. And I attribute a lot of it to the hybrid.
Yeah, the bodybuilding stuff is very like, it puts a halt on everything else in your life.
Yeah, I had to stop with everything else I was doing, you know, put a stop on the hybrid stuff.
You literally have to put your absolute all into bodybuilding if you're gonna do it like for like a show, you know what I mean? Like with hybrid, I feel you can kind of have more of a balance with life. Yeah. And if anything, you're burning so many calories. Yeah. You can kind of say, oh yeah, I'll have this chocolate peanut butter ice cream cake or whatever the heck. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have this cheesecake because I burn so many calories anyways.
Literally,
you know?
that's it.
Yeah. So like I'm gonna have these gummy worms. Yeah. Why not? You know? Yeah. Because I can get away with it, you know. Well, I had the podcast with JB from JB Fitness, and he uses this term, work hard, play hard. You know, which is true. Like I've of course I've heard it before, but you know, it's like the harder you work, the more harder you get to play. Yeah, and it didn't process in my mind. Usually, I would relate that saying to sports, you know, but you can relate that to also just specifically just training in general, like burning calories in general. Or just in life in general. Like, okay, I'm going to work super hard in this season and play super hard.
Yeah, you know? Absolutely.
So that's probably your mindset right now, right?
Yeah, no, that's how I feel, you know, with all my events. You know, I'm like, okay, after this, I'll be able to kind of enjoy the holidays. Because I have 2 more races this year. And then after that, I'll be able to enjoy like the holidays and stuff like that and play hard.
What's your dream cheat meal? Like if you could only have one cheat meal, like what'd you have after the show? And then you can tell me what you had after the show. And if you wanted to have something else, what would you have had?
Right after the show, I had it's going to sound bad. Everybody thinks this sounds disgusting, but I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. It's a peanut butter and jelly bacon burger. You've heard of that?
What? No, bro.
Yeah, Slater 50/50. Yeah,
no, bro, that's doing so way good. Too much. No. Why that does not taste good?
When you're
that's like pineapple, bacon. Bro. That's like pineapple on pizza.
Hey,
that's bad. That's bad. Those peanut butter and a burger should not go together.
It's the bacon mixed with the peanut butter and the jelly.
It was so good. Yeah, I think Lazy Dog, they do a good one too over there. That restaurant and you could, okay, this is gonna sound even worse, but you can get a scoop of vanilla ice cream on it too. So it's a vanilla ice cream burger.
Diabetes on bacon. A burger, all right.
That was the first meal I had right after my prep, after my show, and it tasted amazing. I loved it. But I would say pie. Like my favorite cheat meal. I love pie, like pecan pie. Pecan pie, yeah.
Thanksgiving's coming up.
Yeah, like that's why that's the first thing that come to mind.
I'm not a big pecan guy, but I definitely love me some pumpkin pie without the whipped cream too. I hate when there's whipped cream. Like I just straight up pumpkin pie and cold too. I don't like it warm. Like, I'm telling you, anything. This guy's weird. Anything.
He's got demands.
Anything you can have warm, it's better cold. Like in my opinion, at least. Not okay. Hold up. Let me rephrase this. Anything in the sense of sweets. In the sense of sweets, okay. like if you've ever had like a Reese's Pieces king size cup or like Reese's Pieces, you put them in the freezer and you eat them. Oh, that's like crunchy. It tastes so much better. Yeah. Same thing. 1%. Oh yeah, same thing with pumpkin pie. We'll pause for a second. Okay. I'll just remember I was talking about pumpkin pie. Hey, bro, let's go, bro. I know, bro. Put it away. Oh, is that me? Yeah. I know, bro. I was hella like man spreading, wasn't I?
Off, man.
I know.
That's cool. That's cool.
Would you rather me woman spread?
Are you talking to him or me?
I'm bigger. I'm doing more man spreading over here.
Yeah, we're going. You should be okay for this.
Emilio's just on his phone.
Dude, I was literally checking our post.
peanut butter stuff.
Oh yeah. Anyway, so pie. So yeah, pumpkin pie. Put it in the fridge. Put some Reese's Pieces king size cups in the freezer. That is fire. I'm telling you.
That's pretty.
What you gotta do.
I would definitely try. I wouldn't knock it. You know, when I was bulking, actually, like trying to really this was, I didn't have a coach or anything, and this is like when I first started like personal training. I was just getting into it.
Right.
I would have a cheat meal every week, and like I would literally go to In-N-Out, and I would get 2 4x4s. Yeah. I would get an animal style fry and a chocolate vanilla milkshake.
Bro,
and that was to finish my day. That was at the end of my day.
Have you guys ever tried the Neapolitan milkshakes?
No.
Yeah, all three.
Oh, all three. Oh, okay. They do that in and out.
Yeah.
Yes, I would just eat regular all day, and it'd be like 9 p.m. and I would go hit up In-N-Out and get that. And
yeah, I know. In-N-Out
that would hurt. Yeah, that was bad.
In-N-Out is always going to hit 110% of the time, and the price there is always on point too. And if you take off the cheese, it's cheaper.
I know. Oh really? I didn't know it's cheaper.
Okay. Yeah, they take off some price.
Now I just do like a double meat over there, so it's just basically like a double with no cheese. I guess that's what it's called. It's just called a double meat.
Really? Yeah, I didn't know it was called that. That's an easier way to. Yeah, that's an easier way to live vegan.
Yeah, they know the lingo.
No vegan stuff here. All right, no
Impossible burgers.
No, that's not what it's about. Okay, we're just trying to eat meat. God calls us. Well, hey man, I mean here's the thing. God calls us to eat, real food. Yeah, you know what I mean, real food.
Second that.
And so let me ask you, what does your diet usually consist of? Like healthy, unhealthy. Like how do you?
It's pretty healthy, but it's a little harder. It's a little harder when your wife's pregnant.
Yeah.
Not calling you out. Not calling her out.
I don't even want to. I don't want to interject, but I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
You could probably add a tone to that right there. It's definitely harder when your wife's pregnant because, like, they say that the men also get like the pregnancy cravings, and I don't know how true that is. But I definitely have a big sweet tooth, and even more so when my wife's pregnant. So. But typically, like I'll eat I eat very similar to like when I was on prep. Actually, my eggs, turkey bacon. Sometimes I'll have a bagel or hash browns, potatoes, something like that. And then it's always like a protein. It's always just typical chicken, whatever. Rice, pasta, stuff like that. But it's definitely not as strict like when I was doing my bodybuilding prep. Where I'm measuring stuff. I wasn't. After my bodybuilding show, I really stopped kind of measuring everything. Yeah. Not everything. Like I measure some things, but I'm definitely not as strict about it as I was during my prep.
I think it's important to just measure your protein for the most part. Yeah. Like nobody ever gets fat off of eating meat. Yeah. Like that's what I always tell people. Nobody. I mean, really, like even if you're having a meat that's really high in fat, nobody's usually going to get overweight, obese, and unhealthy off of just meat. And so
that's true.
I always at least try to just track my protein. So hey, how many ounces of chicken I've ate today? How many ounces of beef I've ate today? You know what I mean? And if I can at least hit like 140 to 150 grams of protein just through animal meat, then I'm usually okay. The rest of my day will probably put me over to like 180, 190 grams of protein with good carbs and fats. That's where I'm at right now. I'm trying to have more of like a balance to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not really trying to cut hard right now. I'm just trying to recomp, gain strength. Yeah. And so you don't really need to be as strict when you're, just kind of maintaining
just
or
maintenance,
whatever, right? Like when you're cutting and you're trying to like, you want things to be factual. Like I tell my clients this, like here's a meal plan. Mm-hmm. This meal plan will guarantee you results. Yeah. Right? This meal plan will literally guarantee you results. If you go off the meal plan, I can't guarantee you results. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I'd say that same thing to myself. It's okay, well, why am I not losing weight? Well, am I tracking? Because if I'm not tracking, I'm slacking. Right? Yeah. And so
that's a good one. I haven't heard that before.
Yeah. At the end of the day, if I'm not tracking, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Are you hitting your protein intake? Are you staying lower on the carbs and the fats, stuff like that?
Yeah. How do you know you're over consuming or under consuming?
Yeah, that's true.
And a lot of time, like, people will eat one bad thing and it's like, oh yeah, I just had a Starbucks sandwich. That little Starbucks sandwich you had was like 600 calories. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I had a client who would, he's a younger guy, he's like 16, 17. Before every single one of our workouts, he would go have a Jamba Juice shake, right? And he'd get a large. And I was like, I don't think you shouldn't be doing that, like just eat regular foods, prioritize carbs prior to your workout, stuff like that. And after like a few weeks of us training, I was like, "You still doing the Jamba Juice?" He's like, "Yeah, like I just don't have time to do anything else." I was like, "Dude, you don't have time to like just have some toast or something like that?" He's like, "No, it's just easier for the Jamba Juice." I was like, "Okay." So then I was like, let me check something. So I went on Jamba Juice's website, and then I was like, "Which one do you get?" And then because they show the nutrition facts on the website, and he showed me it was like the orange dreamsicle or something like that. And I clicked on it and I was like, "What size do you get?" He said a large. And I clicked on large, and guess how much sugar was in that drink?
In Jamba Juice? Yeah, Jamba Juice is supposed to be healthy.
Well, I mean, it's fruit sugars. I mean, it's a lot of sugars.
Yeah.
How much sugar would you guess was in that shake? A large.
I would say 80, but I would also say too, it probably isn't all just regular fruit sugar.
Yeah.
I wonder if they would throw anything else in it, you know?
It was 113 grams of sugar.
Oh, shoot.
Prior to all of his workouts. And I was like, "That's crazy. Cut it out right now. No more of the Jamba Juice. You're done. You're done. 130. I mean, like an excessive amount like that, and you wouldn't need that much, you know. Yeah. Definitely not.
When your body intakes carbs, it's going to break it down into glucose. You don't need a bunch of sugar before you work out. You don't like have to.
Yeah. Especially if you're only working out for 60 minutes, you know.
The carbs are what's important so you can the carbs are what's important so you can replenish your glycogen, so you have a Rice Krispie treat. Maybe even then, I mean obviously even Rice Krispie treats, it's not like it's the cleanest source of sugar. Yeah. You know, it obviously it's beneficial to the extent of your body absorbs it super quickly and replenishes it your body very quickly because of the processed sugar. Yeah. But that still isn't ideal, you know.
Yeah, it's not ideal. Keep it clean. As clean as you can.
Dutch Bros cotton candy Slurpee. Are there cotton candy Frosty? That was my, like I had that same experience because I used to always get one of those at Dutch Bros.
I like cotton candy.
Yeah, I love it. I love cotton candy flavored stuff. And that's like over 100 grams of sugar as well.
Dang,
like, and you wouldn't
crazy.
think about it. You're like, it's just a little drink. No,
that's insane. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's not even. I don't even know if it was a ton of calories comparative, because I've gone through stints where I've been super strict and I need to, hit my meal plan on a T, track everything, make sure like I weigh everything out, and then I'll do whatever fits my macros. So, I ate all my protein today. I had all my meals. I have 600 calories left. I'm going to get a cotton candy Dutch Bros, Frosty or Slurpee or whatever. And so I wouldn't care if it was like 600, 700, 800 calories because I had the calories to do it. But then I found out it was that much sugar, and it just didn't even like mentally feel right.
Yeah, it's just, that's way too much right there, especially to end your day with too.
Yeah, and then it's just not healthy for you in general.
Yeah, no, seriously.
I take some pretty hard stances on specific things when it comes to health. Like I have zero tolerance for alcohol.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Do you drink at all or no?
I do occasionally. Okay. Like, I don't drink as much as I used to, but I'll have a beer. So, beer here, there, and wine, stuff like that. But definitely, I would say ever since my son was born, that's when I like really kind of cut back on drinking. I was like, okay, I need to, cool off on that. But even after my marathon run, like one incentive after finishing your marathon is you get 2 free beers, and I was like, oh heck yeah,
really?
Yeah, you get 2 free beers, so they give you beer right after the race.
No, that's
in
all
Fresno.
bad.
Yeah, it's 2 cities.
2 beers?
Yeah, 2 beers. Yeah, I was like, okay, let's go. It's just a Michelob Ultra. It's nothing
that's
like
too funny.
Crazy.
Well, I guess after a 2 cities marathon, I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean, on my watch, it's not 100% accurate, but it said I burned like 3,800 calories. Which is insane. I know it's not 100% accurate.
How many miles is the marathon? How much was it?
26.2. It's crazy. And the most I've ever run before, I didn't do my training prep that well for the marathon because I'm still am training for High Rocks, which is in 2 weeks. But the most mileage I had got to was 15 miles. So I hadn't even reached like the top mileage, where usually people they'll kind of do like a pyramid. They'll work up, they'll start their prep. They'll do like 8 miles, 10, 12, 14. They'll go all the way up to like 26, and they'll start climbing back down to like closer to the marathon, where I just peaked at 15. And like, I was like, I'm just going to grind it out, I'm just gonna finish. And it's funny too, because that's actually where I started to like hit that wall, was when in the actual marathon was like mile 15, and everything started locking up, my legs, my hammies. It was all bad, but still a good experience, and I finished. So
dang, yeah. And how did your legs feel after you were done with the marathon?
Oh, it was so bad. I was limping like across the finish line, because I had run out of like my salt tabs and gels. I didn't calculate like how much I would actually need. And I thought I was good. I was like, okay, if I take one every like 30 minutes, I'll be good. But I quickly ran out, you know, and I was like, oh shoot. So by the time I got to like mile 15, 18, I was like hitting that wall. And when the thing about a marathon is once you hit that wall, there's really no coming up from there. It's either you got to maintain that pain or it's just even worse, you know? And it started getting worse. And then like mile 20, it started to get a little, I was like, okay, I could keep pushing, you know? But I started at a 9-minute mile pace, which is pretty good. And I was holding that consistently for like 12 to 15 miles. And then it quickly dropped to like 14-minute mile pace. Dang. It was so much slower, you know?
Well, so it tapers down. As
it tapered down like pretty drastically, you know? So I learned my lesson. It took me 4 hours and 56 minutes to finish.
I've been seeing some of the people who do marathons, they'll literally drink a Coke.
Oh yeah. Just like quick
what
carbs.
Is that for? Obviously
quick,
fast.
Yeah, carbs, you know, quick carbs, you know, and probably just the taste, like the carbonation probably just during the race. Yeah. People would drink like soda during the race. Because I think, what does the soda have? Like 50 grams maybe of carbs?
40 grams of sugar typically.
40 grams. So yeah, it's a lot, you know?
Yeah, I don't know how many carbs it has, but yeah, 40 grams of sugar. I guess we could do the math, but it's doing too much.
I've seen so many.
It's doing too much right now. I'm not trying to do all that.
I've seen so many pretty unique different ways. Like someone I know who runs, she'll carry like potato slices in her like fanny pack and she'll eat potato peels because it's like a cleaner version, I guess, you know, without all the sugars, you know? And then you could do the gels, like I was saying. I would just take the gels and those are easy, you know, you just rip it open, drinking, I think it's 25 grams of sugar. So I would do that. And then the salt tabs. So it's just like a little chewable of electrolytes basically.
Yeah.
And then I had a little handheld water bottle you strap around your hand. So you're not having to like hold something, you know, strap it around your hand. And then I put electrolytes in there. So I'm sipping on that as I'm running and stuff too. So it was a good experience.
So when a marathon it's not a race, it's just a marathon, right? So,
I mean, it is a race for the top athletes.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. They'll be at the front of the line, like they're pushing, you know? So some of them, yeah, it is a marathon race, but for most people they're just doing it to complete a marathon.
So who were like the top 3 people who usually finish these big
Honestly,
races?
they were way ahead of me. I don't even know.
You don't even, David Goggins is up there?
I think he finished. Yeah. I was way too far behind to know who. No, I could check online, but I just didn't. I wasn't really like competing against anyone else. I was just literally competing against myself. Just try to finish it, get under 5 hours, don't die. Like that was my only check boxes, and I checked them, you know.
Yeah, it's better to try to beat yourself rather than try to beat anybody else.
Yeah, right? Especially in a lot of like these events and races, like when you get really competitive, like it's a good thing, you know, but it could be a little discouraging, especially when you're kind of newer to the sport. A lot of these people have been running since they were 5 years old, you know, and their parents put them in cross country or track, and they've been going. And then now I'm only like, you know, 1-2 years into the sport. So it's like, you know, I'm relatively new compared to them, you know? So I'm just trying to like do the best I can and get better every single time, you know, where, you know, eventually I'd like to be up there, you know, like some of the smaller local events of like DECA, I would take first place on those, you know, the High Roxes, I would do really good in my age category and stuff like that. But it's just about getting better, you know, on your own personal level.
Yeah. Making your own best and then just trying to beat that next best the next time you get out there. So
PR.
What is it? PR. Yeah, you're peeing PRing. I flustered my words. You are PRing.
Yeah.
You are PRing through running. That's what's important. So you did work at Title 21 for a bit, right?
Oh, Title 29,
29, I'm tripping.
Yeah.
And it was that a CrossFit gym?
No, it was more of a strength and conditioning gym. We coached kickboxing classes over there.
Oh.
So like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays, it would have kickboxing classes, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they would have like strength classes. So that's actually what first got me into like group training. And I loved it. I thought it was fun, like high energy. I'm getting a bunch of steps in and I'm sweating, you know, a ton. But it was fun. Like I would notice I had a lot more impact with that as well too. Like on a wider scale, you know, because I'm training in each class by like maybe 10 to 15 people, you know, and I would do 3 classes a day. So, you know, you do the math on that compared to like maybe doing 8 one-on-one sessions in a day, you know, you have a much bigger amount of people you're like, you know, training and getting an impact on. So I had so much fun with that. And I did that from 2021 to just the beginning of last year. So it was about 2 years, like a year and a half, 2 years. And it was fun. That really kind of helped like kickstart like a lot of my training as well, you know, because I was doing that along with my sole business of one-on-one training. And then that's when I moved over to Synergy, and I started training one-on-one over there. And then I took my classes and I started doing classes at the Fresno Athletic Training Center, which was FCR, fitness course racing. It's kind of like, you've heard of like Spartan races before, right? Well, Spartan races, it has that title of OCR, obstacle course racing. So Walt and I, we had kind of put together the FCR, which is just another version of it, you know, fitness course racing, which is just more of the indoor, you know, you're doing the rowing, the skiing, the biking, stuff like that. So yeah, it was a good experience, and I love it. You know, that was kind of like my start to the hybrid training.
So before, you really didn't do the hybrid training, it was more just group training?
Not too much. It was just like, it was just pure group training. It was like kickboxing, you know? And I had a lot of fun doing that.
So how, well, at least in your position, right, with your experience, what is the best way to sustain, you know, fitness long term, in your opinion, just from your...
I would say having like a set schedule, you know, like a program, because, you know, most people, they don't really have like, you know, a plan, you know, and if you don't have a plan, you can easily get sidetracked, you know, on what you're actually doing. And also too, like, you know, you're saying, how can you stay consistent, like just signing up for an event? You know, a lot of people will like overthink, you know, doing a certain event, doing a race, doing a deck or whatever it is, you know, and they'll just never take that first step of signing up, you know. And if you have a date, like for example, even with like a bodybuilding show, if you have a date, you're 16 weeks out from this show, like you have to, you know, compete and perform in this amount of time frame, you know. So it's a bit more motivating that way, and it's going to help you stay a little more disciplined, you know. And with the hybrid training, you know, that's how I've at least found myself to stay more consistent, because I'll just I'll try to keep a race on the calendar all the time, you know. Even if it's far out, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do, you know, this High Rocks at the end of the year. I'm going to literally do a marathon, you know. I was getting ready for this. So whatever it is, it's having like a race that you're signed up for and doing, you know.
No, you're right. I mean, I've definitely experienced that when I have a date or a time for something. And how would somebody who doesn't necessarily want to be a bodybuilder, doesn't necessarily want to do High Rocks, they just want to like be a fit person, which in my opinion, I feel like it's too general of a goal to be like, I just want to be fit. What does that mean? You know, I just want to be fit. Like, I just want to look like, what do you want to look like? You know, like what, who, where, why, how, you know what I mean?
Probably just, I would assume they would mean like low body fat, you know, they just want to have less body fat, more muscle mass, you know, feel more confident, stuff like that, you know? Right. But yeah, it is a pretty general goal, you know. That's when you'd have to break it down and get more specific, you know. That way it's not like, you know, so easy to get off track, you know, because I feel like I just want to be fit, you know. But when it starts getting hard, you know, then you're going to really easily just fall off, you know. Well, if it's like, hey, I want to get abs, you know, like then that's a more specific goal, you know, of that it's a little more feasible, more attainable, you know.
Yeah, abs, I mean, yeah, it's obviously a clearer goal, but super hard to get. I think people don't understand how hard it is to get abs.
Is it?
I mean, you're like, sure, I'm Jayvon Bishop. What you mean? Abs are hard to get. But I'm telling you, like, at least visible abs, you know, to the point where like they stand out. You know what I mean? Yeah. I definitely think it is. Well, I've been at a point where I was more overweight, so I was like 210. And I felt like I just kind of looked too fluffy. I was overweight, you know, for my height. I'm only 5'8". I'm not a huge man, you know what I mean? So I'm just a medium-sized man, you know. Some people will call me short king. Some people will call me medium-sized king. I'm just a child of God.
I would just say it.
I'm whatever God calls me to be, you know. If he wants me to be a short king, then I'm a short king. It is what it is, you know. But anyways, funny. So for my size, that's over 200 pounds isn't good. You know what I mean? So I had to make some adjustments, started intermittent fasting, doing a bunch of crazy stuff. But because I stuck to it, I worked out 3 times a week and did intermittent fasting. And that's literally how I lost 65 pounds.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
And I lost a ton of weight, and I got my first set of abs at like 19.
Oh, that's awesome. See,
it was Grego Gallagher, so it was
yeah, that's awesome. You kind of have to push push the level a little bit harder, you know, and I think most people would just scratch the surface and they'll be like, it's unattainable. Like I can't get abs. I'm just not meant to have abs. You know, my whole family's overweight. I'm just meant to be overweight. It's genetics. And I'm like, that's far from the truth. Like you haven't actually put in work, right? You know, real work, you know,
to understand your genetics,
to understand it. Exactly. You know, and you look at like someone like David Goggins, you know, this dude was like over 300 pounds, you know, and then just started getting into fitness, started running, because he was training to be a Navy SEAL. And this dude got super shredded, lost about, I think he like went in at like 180, 185, right? Lost over 100 pounds so he could join the Navy SEALs. It's like, you know, a lot of it's here and not so much your genetics.
But people don't want to hear that, Jayvon. It's not their fault, Jayvon. It's not their fault. You know what I mean? It's yeah. It's not their fault, Jayvon. Yeah. Okay, they're in a bad spot. You're not. You wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
No, but it's true. What you're saying is true. Like a lot of people like to make those excuses in a sense of, oh, well, I don't have the genetics for that, or I'm not built for that. Yeah, maybe you're not going to look like, you know, the top model that's, you know, on a magazine, or you're not going to look like that Instagram model who you don't know what type of work they put in. You don't know if they got surgery or not. Yeah. You don't know nothing, right? And you're just trying to, you're visualizing this body on you that just isn't you, right? And you have to really reflect and look in the mirror of like, okay, how can I just make this better? Yeah. How can and you know, looks is one thing, but how can I just feel better? You know what I mean? And I think aesthetics, as I've gotten older, I don't think aesthetics matters as much to me as it used to. Yeah. But I do think aesthetics is a reflection of how you do treat your body. You know, absolutely. I really do. And not saying you have to have a 6-pack, but you just gotta, you know, look like you're, you know, capable, right? Your body is capable of doing something. Usually people will be able to tell that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an important aspect right there. Cause a lot of people, they'll kind of let themselves go, you know, or, you know, they'll be having really good, you know, traction, momentum going, and then they'll just kind of take their foot off the gas after they've reached a certain goal. And I've had a lot of clients do that as well too. You know, they'll reach a goal, like they're pushing really hard, and then they won't really have anything after that. And then they take the foot off the gas and they kind of just lose everything, you know? So kind of going back to like, you know, how do you stay consistent? Have another goal ready. You know, what's your next goal? What are you trying to, and it doesn't have to be signing up for a race, but, you know, body weight goal, strength goal, whatever it is, you know? Yeah. Or even cutting something out, you know, cutting out alcohol, cutting out smoking. I know I have some clients that smoke a lot, you know, and then it's not the smoking in itself, but it's what the smoking, you know, causes you to do. You know, you get the munchies and now you start eating more, and it's like, okay, so, you know, are you really looking at everything in your life that you're doing, you know?
Yeah. To your point too, especially with, you know, me and my wife, just having the kid, you know, she's just gave birth to my daughter, and, you know, she had a C-section, so she wasn't able to work out right away. Oh, okay. But now she's almost cleared and she's finally able to work out. This is to your point of having clear goals. She told me the other day, like, I want to go back to the gym. I'm like, well, what's your, like, you know, what is your goal? Not even saying you got to like lose weight or gain weight, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I just want to get to the gym. Yeah. You know, I'm like, how many times? You know, like for how long? Yeah. You know what I mean? What's the program, right? And of course, I'm a helper with all that. Yeah. But I love having those conversations. And for some people, it's probably annoying. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, here we go. Here's the comment. And I feel like she'll probably get like that with me sometimes. She's like, oh, of course, you're gonna have to get all deep about this. Like, I just want to just do my thing. But I hate the general stuff. Yeah. I hate being general about goals.
Yeah. You got to take it more serious if you like really want to see results, you know? And that's obviously with a lot of things, but, you know, specifically fitness, you got to take it a lot more serious. If you're wanting to get, you know, what you put in, you're going to get more out of it.
Yeah. And you can't really cheat a fit body. You know, you really can't cheat a strong body. You can't really cheat any of that. You really have to go earn it. Yeah. You know, and, you know, my genetics, aren't as good as other people's, great, but there's also people who don't have as good genetics as me. Yeah. You know, so instead of thinking, oh, who can I be better than, or who I want to look like them, I'm just like, okay, here I am, you know, here's what I did before. What can I just do now just to feel better and look slowly better? You know what I mean? And because that, again, that's an exact kind of, you know, mirror of what I'm putting in my body. Yeah. You know what I mean? This could be controversial, but I think, you know, there's a lot of obviously like things going on in the world right now, but I know there will be some health changes, in America, which is something that I'm really excited about. Hopefully, taking colored dyes out of kids' foods and taking like a lot of these seed oils out of stuff. You know what I mean? And just like going towards a healthier version of ourselves. Like a lot of these things, people just like, it's banned in Europe. A lot of these things are banned in Europe, but yet our country still feeds these things to us.
Yeah, it's insane. And the fact two of us, we have kids growing up in this country too now. So it's something that's even more so important to us. And a lot of people just like overlook it. They don't look at it at all, and it doesn't really matter to them. And they don't realize the long-term or short-term effects that they don't notice it has on them,
Yeah, and you don't need to, it's interesting, obviously we respect people who have degrees, who are very educated and have gone to school for plenty of years to get educated. But it's simple to look up a study and find out facts. Yeah. It's very simple. Anybody has the ability to do that. Anybody, right? And if a fact is a fact, it is what it is, right? If we look up studies, if we do research, we're going to find that these artificial dyes have an effect on children. Yeah. And whether you think I'm educated or not educated, it's just true, right? Yes. Like you just look it up, you find information and you take it for what it is, And so, honestly, like it's about time we get to that point where like these other countries, I don't even think you can buy like hot Cheetos or Takis there.
If you can, they just have way less ingredients.
Don't get me wrong, man. I like me a good bag of Takis every now and then. All right. Every now and then. I remember in the mall, they used to have this little stand where you can get like queso with Takis.
Oh man, that's why you don't have the abs.
Yeah, see, bro. But this was when I worked at Bath and Body Works.
Oh shoot.
But you know what's crazy is, I don't know. It's work hard, play hard, right? Yeah. So at the time I was working hard so I could play hard. You know what I mean? But anyways, I don't eat like that anymore. But yeah, no. So, oh my God. Can you not rush us, Caleb, please? We were having such a good conversation, man. We're having a good conversation. I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to stall so I could remember what I was saying.
I gave you a little break.
So what was I talking about before the Takis?
Just how the food.
Oh yes, the food.
The dyes.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm excited to see what's to come in the future for the country, to see if we can get healthier or if this is all just smoke, because at the end of the day, we got to figure out if anything will actually be different. You know what I mean? So, but dude, it's been a sick pod.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is there any words or anything like to touch on as far as your social medias, where people can follow you, where they can find you, anything like that?
I mean, my social media, I'm usually just on Instagram. That's pretty much it. It's my first and last name, Jayvon Bishop, Jayvon, and then Bishop. And I'm just training for, my next race, which is in 2 weeks. That's going to be at High Rocks in Dallas, Texas. So I'll be flying out over there to compete in this will be my, I think 4th or 5th High Rocks. I think 4th High Rocks. That I'll be doing, and I'm looking forward to that, and that'll be the last race of the year. So that's about it. I'll be posting about that a lot, and I got 2 more weeks, so maybe I'll be posting a little bit of training, what I'm doing in the last couple of weeks. But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Remember to stay righteous, stay real. We out. Peace.
Thanks.
See ya. All right, now we can talk about Trump. I'm just joking. All right, I think we're good. I think we're good. I don't know. Should we?
Yeah. I'm down if you're down.